life and death. That's popping right now. But the 34 and the 43 are part of the codon ring of destiny, and that's popping. And the 20, this presence, that's popping. And even the all right, that's good. Oh, so it has to be for not to be in that mode. Okay, good to know. Give it a second. Hi guys. Close. All right. I was trying to take it out of, there it goes. Okay, so it has to be, so I can't have it in multiple people view, otherwise it'll show on YouTube and multiple people view. So I just have to keep it in this view. All right. I thought it only changed it for me on this side so I can see everybody, but it actually changes it. No matter if I'm spotlight, I've got my pin on. All right. All right. Well, so we got a lot going on. All right. So the codon ring of life and death, the 20, which is presence, it's the sacred ohm. It's the 8th octave. It is essentially the logic plane. Like I said, we're coming into this rainbow body. And tropical, I guess apparently the sun has moved into. The sun moved into Jinky 15. I thought that was pretty funny. I was bringing that through the other day in a channel. And about the final fluorescence. Okay. Holy shit. There's a lot going on energetically. So what we're going to anchor today in this transmission is, I don't necessarily know everything, but what I was coming through today, again, it's the absorption. It's the absorption into the silence. Okay, so Jupiter is in silence. Obviously, there's people that we're all working through all levels of it. Until the Siddhic state dawns, we are in the flow or the sine wave of life. All right, so there is no this ultimate overcoming the shadow, I'm only in my heart bullshit that people like to spiritually they love to do. It's called spiritual bypassing. What am I not connected to? Something's on. Oh, okay, it's the microphone. Okay, about that. Okay, cool. Sorry, getting my site set up again. Getting this set up again. Okay, so this unfolding. So there is no Siddhic state, and I don't have bad days. It's all good days, or the human condition is not relevant, which is bullshit as well. Every feeling, every emotion is relevant. You can't have one without the other. Okay, you've got to have all your feelings. I don't care if people want to disagree and say that they're irrelevant. Everything is relevant. Even tropical astrology is relevant, and y'all know I think it's irrelevant. So, but it's still fucking relevant. Right? Otherwise, it wouldn't be present. Everything has purpose. It just may not have a purpose necessarily in our experience, our day-to-day experience. All right. So what's coming through is absorption. Okay. I think there's a lot of clarity. There's a lot of things I want to bring through. Okay. A little bit about the sun and the fake sun simulator mentality. Again, I think that deals more with the psyops and keep people distracted. Another thing that's coming through for me with the sun and the CGI images of the sun and how it's on fire. I was reading Jinky 20 and this popped into my head, all the sun stuff. So we got the sun simulator, the sun's not real. And then we have people that are, we talk about how there's CGI images with the solar flares, this, that, and the other. We can see flares coming off the sun. And in the Jinkies, how it 20 specifically, it was talking about how the sun burns hot, and where does it get its fuel from? Right, it gets it from the void, gets it from everything around us, and that we're living inside the sun and we're a projection of the sun. So there's that mentality. I don't believe that too much either. There's essence to it. My belief on that is that the sun is not a burning ball of fucking fire. It's a plasma. It's a light. It's a hot light, a heat. Okay, it's a heat source or a light source, just like the moon is a light source, but it's cold light. Anyways, and so with the CGI and the sun solar flares and all these things that they're expressing from that. I don't believe any of that shit whatsoever either. Solar flares coming off of our sun, all that. It's what I feel. It's all emanating from the black sun, and it's coming from the atmosphere, and they utilize the sun as the host for that. But you can take it as you will. Everything is all perception. It's all perception. I'm not saying that what I say is right. It's just an opinion. All the shit that was coming through for me, it's just an opinion. Okay. But what I was getting from that is like, we are the source of the sun. We are the source of this light, just like we are the source of all things that are on this earth, because it wouldn't exist if it wasn't in our DNA. And so our DNA and us being alive, humans being alive, are what project this reality. So the sun source, if in my perspective, is our consciousness, and it's our external projection of our conscious awakened state. And the moon is our projection of the unconscious state. Okay. And all kinds of other like things that go along with that, characteristic things that go along with that. But the sun and solar flares, that what I was getting with this was, the more conscious we become of ourself, which deals with Jinki 20 and presence, okay, the more light we bring up, the more darkness we go through, the void, the abyss, okay, the more that we go into that dark abyss, the more light that we bring into our sense of self-awareness, right, coming out of that superficiality, being obscured, being lost in the darkness. Okay, cool. The more that we bring light in, the more the sun has solar flares. Okay. And we see this in connection with the black sun, which is at the internal sun, our internal creation at the center of the toroidal field. Because again, this deals with being in a Taurus, okay, and bringing light and the yin and the yang and the light, the dark, and the balancing of the in and the out, external, the internal and the external. So the black sun is the internal, the white sun is the external. The internal sun is the black hole, okay? Even though scientists say it's space and it's, the black hole and Sagittarius and the galactic center, and the Mintaka is the white hole, and that's in Orion. Okay. The external sun that we have here is the white hole. It's not complicated. Okay, but scientists and human mind, mankind want to make things complicated. Okay, so the black sun is the abyss, the black hole. I'm not to say that it doesn't have external manifestations, whatever. But in simplicity, the black sun, internal creation, is the black hole to the abyss, which is connected to our umbilical cord. Okay, we talked about this. If you're new, maybe you haven't heard this. So it's the state of absorption. It's your going from your SQ to your core wound, or your vocation sphere, and your core or vocation sphere in your Gene Keys hologenetic profile. This pathway is a pathway of realization from SQ to core. Okay, and that is when you get to the core, that is absorption. Okay, and so that connects to your umbilical cord, because the core wound is gestation, your first 9 months. And so where you essentially are connected to the mother in the womb. Okay, so the core is the womb, and that connects to our umbilical cord. And we all have a white stream, right? The white light, the white cord, or people call it the silver cord. Okay, the silver cord that connects us to the morphogenetic field. Okay, so that connects us to the womb of creation, which is in the center of our toroidal fields. It's the black sun, and that's the void, the abyss. So all light comes from the abyss. This is where our white sun out here gets its power, It's not a burning ball of flames. Okay. It's a plasma ball of light emanation. And the more self-aware we become, we get these Schumann resonance spikes that are actually not coming from our sun in the atmosphere. It's creating, the change is internal, and it creates frequency shifts in the holographic plane, okay, in the dielectric plane, and it spikes the frequency, the baseline resonance, and it alters that, and then it alters us, okay, and we alter it. So it's an involution, evolution, push and pull, the yin, the yang, the swirling. And essentially what brings enlightenment, Christ consciousness, and the sudden flash is the continuous expansion and awareness of the self, your actions, your deeds, your thoughts, so on and so forth. And we're doing this collectively and individually. Okay. But what's coming, what's already happening, and I say coming, but what's already happening is we're coming into, or we're experiencing the full blooming of the rainbow body. Now that's for a collective. Others are going to have their 5th initiation, and then others are having a 6th initiation. So the imbibing, or the announcing, the annunciation, the announcing of the Christ is the 5th, and then the imbibing of the Christ is the 6th. All right, where you take in the Christ consciousness. And then the 7th is the full embodiment. You're ordained, you're knighted, you're king, you're queen, you're enlightened. And then this is the 8th, and then the 9th is about sanctification is the 8th. And then the body of glory, or the refusal, is the 9th, which is where we have the rainbow body transfiguration. Okay. So, or the full blooming of the 144,000 crown chakra. Okay. And when we bloom the crown chakra, this allows for the 8th octave, the next octave, okay, to happen, to be experienced, for the silent sound to emanate. And that's what Jinki 20 is. It's the sacred Om, it's the 8th octave, and it is the logoic plane. And that is beyond the causal plane. That is beyond the mental plane. The mental plane is the last state where the mind has anything to say about anything. And what the crowning and the blooming of the crown chakra and the sacred Om, okay, this is the sanctification, okay, where the 8th and 9th are simultaneous. It's a happening. But anyways, the sanctification and the 8th octave, okay, the logoic plane is when you're in God consciousness. And so that is the descent, or the flood of the presence, right? That is the divine flooding through you, the divine light flooding you. Bloom, hello. All right. And then it floods your body, that wipes out the karma, the sanskaras, all the old memory, all of it flushes your body like a flush. It's a flush. All right. And but we say it's like a flood, it's like a flush, it's a flash. I used this example, I think, the other day with the Men in Black. In the movie Men in Black, if you haven't seen it, it's not my problem. Go Google and find it on YouTube. Anyways, where they flash the light and the people, then they're wiped of their memory, and then the Men in Black give them a nice new memory. But it's not going to be the Men in Black that give us a nice new memory, because that's what the fuck they did with the last 300 years of indoctrination and give humans a new memory. Anyways, I don't want to get into the sidetrack side part. But what it does is the divine is giving us our divine inheritance, our divine memory, our divinity restored, which is your memory of your eternal innocence, the eternal presence, the omniscience, the all-seeing eye. And you're no longer, okay, now again, this is for a collective we're setting the frequency, and I'm just getting the transmission. I don't even know if I'm part of this collective. I can't say, I don't fucking know. Okay. I know this is the message that I'm being guided to put into the collective. Okay. God's using me. God uses all of us. We don't, it just is. That's my perspective. You don't have to have it. You can think that you have free will. That's great. And you do. You have free will to say, no, I don't want you to work for me, God. I'll take the demons and devils. I've done that for a really long time in my life too. And then that's the ego. That's not mad. That's the ego. But my ego pops up all the time. That's how you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. You're not in divinity. You're not in and you're not beyond the shadows. You're not beyond the demons. You're not beyond the human tendencies and senses and addictions and all. You're not beyond any of that until the fucking cities bloom, right? And so we're still human until we're not. You know, so we walk that fine line. I'm sorry for wiggling so much. I will try to sit still. I'm in shorts. I should have changed their jean shorts. I should have changed my jean shorts. Anyways, so you're okay. So getting to the point, this flood, this flash, this flowering. Okay, it's the Edonic codes, or your plasma memory, DNA, the 98% of your DNA, they call junk DNA or uncodable DNA. You see the orbs? Did you guys see all the little orbs that just went by? Okay. It's your plasma DNA without the corruption. Okay. And that deals with Jinky 44 and Jinky 50. Jinky 44 is the programming partner to Jinky 24, where Jupiter is at right now. Okay. So, and then that's going to ignite the codon ring of Illuminati, which is Jinky 44 and 50. That's what I was just talking about. Codon ring of Illuminati. And this is the return of the core fractals, or the 144,000 frequency. And those that are able, their vessel is able to sustain such high voltage. I think it's John Travolta high voltage. I don't know, whatever. High voltage. It's grease lightning. I don't know. Grease lightning. All that's coming through my mind. That's what just popped up as an image. Grease lightning. Go, Grace, lightning. Okay, anyways, Marjorie. Maybe because I pull. Yeah, I'll channel. You know, we're pulling this all together here. I'm just being the motor mouth for this. Okay, so presence, divine presence comes through silence. There. Okay, I can read some verbatage out of the book. Maybe I don't even know if it wants me to. Yeah. Okay, I did have a little bit of highlighting here. So the sacred ohm is returning home. It's the absorption, the black hole to the white hole. So from the darkness, from the abyss, okay, from the abyss of the black hole, or the internal going through the dark night of the soul many times, because it's at least 7 initiations. So at least 7 dark nights of the soul that you're going to go through, because each one of the initiations takes personal initiations takes the dark night of the soul. Okay. And it typically takes 7 years, but since we're in a expedited or quickening, the awakening, and then the frequencies already, the roadways have already been established, you know, like an Oregon Trail, the roads are already there. So there's a path to follow, or multiple paths to follow. Many different neural networks that have been created in the morphogenetic field for people to fall into, or they have more so miraculous healings. They have epiphanies, and that's another thing that's coming through, because the 20, its programming partner, where the sun and Venus are at, its programming partner. Venus already moving to 6. Venus is in 16. I don't know why the fuck I was saying Venus is, well, it's because it's conjunct the 20. Only thing that's in the 20 is the sun. Okay. So with the sun, its programming partner is Jinky 34, which it's part of the codon ring of destiny with Jinky 43. And so 43 is epiphany, and Jinky 34 talks about what is it actually dubbed? Hold on, let me roll over there real quick. It's called Where Epiphany Meets Majesty. Okay. So it really, he titled it Where Epiphany Meets Majesty, and epiphany is Jinky 43, right? And that's part of the codon ring of destiny. So what I'm seeing, yeah, maybe what I'm seeing being weaved, Okay. And I'm doing my best to leave this today without regurgitating so much out of the book. You know, I that gets daunting because it makes the videos really, really long. But you get the gist of it. You can read all of these, read the Jinkies book, and you'll get where I'm going with this. I'm just laying down the threads here for the collective. Okay, for we're anchoring this frequency in. All right, so the divine presence only comes through silence, and Jupiter's in silence. Okay, so it's from addiction into innovation into silence. Okay, so the silencing is the silencing of the mind, and that comes through the epiphany that we gain, and that comes through not being in force, which is the programming partner, right? This is where the earth sign is at. And so not forcing, but being in our strength, which is that continue to persevere, essentially. Our inner strength, our trust in the divinity and understanding and not attaching to all of the things that are showing up. All because humans have a tendency, I'm not good enough, I just reacted, I do this. Okay, oh, I must not be in my heart because I just acted out of character and I'm still in my shadows, I haven't grown as much. It's you beat your shit up, you beat yourself up. Not truth. And it's not true. You will be an embodiment for the frequency because source, your higher self, right? Your God has so many things flowing through. Your higher self knows better and knows that you might cling to it and go into like self-doubt and ridicule and judgment and go into that low pity frequency, like self-pity, self-sabotage energy. But give it a day, or give it 2, or give it 3, or maybe you're that person that still takes a week to 2 weeks to process your shit. That's okay. But after that 2 to 3 weeks, you rise up. That's the strength. That's the strength. The strength is to continue to rise up. Okay. Inner strength, the love, the heart, the hope, the faith, the knowing, the trust in the experience and the embodiment. Yes, true resilience. Thanks. Thanks, Paige, for the word. Mwah, love you. Anybody got words at me, throw words at me whenever I love it. As long as they're not too long of words. You got sentences and stuff, I'm not going to see it. Okay. Hit me with your small little short sentences. All right. And so coming into this white light, what creates the flash is that presence. Oh, I love you too. I love you too, buddy. Oh, thank you. He's so cute. He said I look beautiful. That was very sweet. I know I put on pink for compassion because I got to have that for myself, because I was definitely beating myself up after coming back to this house after last night and getting off the plane, 2 weeks of pure just amazingness in California, and then coming back here, getting called a cunt, and then having my sacred rage. I took the poker stick and beat the shit out of the wood in the backyard because I had to release that. And I was like, I know I'm not. And then I went for a run, and then I stretched, and then I danced, and I was like, okay, move through it. Okay. But there were times when I would hold on to all that. So anyways, wearing compassion pink for that, for myself, because I went into, I'm not there yet. All that. But anyways, source, higher self knows that shit's not true, and that we're living in the human experience and we're still part of the fleshy flesh. And until you have the descent of the crown unfolding and the cities like unfurling within your genetic code, you're still human, and you're in the sine wave, and you will be used, and you will be tested, and you will be molded. You're going to be fortified in the fires. You can always call in this group of Power Rangers and we'll come handle that shit. I love you. Okay, our Ranger. I used to say that was a kid, which means go Power Rangers in Pig Latin. That's the only thing I ever learned in Pig Latin, which I still don't understand what Pig Latin is, but every time somebody says Power Rangers, that's what it reminds me of. Thank you for sharing that, Ashley. I appreciate that. Karma's coming. The tables are turning, and the script is about to flip. But it's okay. I actually called that into my reality because I needed to have that release. Okay. And I'm okay with it. But I'm saying, don't beat yourself up, because you're going to be used to process the energy. You're going to be used to process. And the devil's still coming at you. Okay, all your lower chakras are still acting up because they're fighting. They're fighting the good fight. For real, everything happens for a reason. I know, as cliche as the fuck as it is, everything happens for a reason. Sure. Okay. But your lower chakras are being purified, constantly being purified. Anything that's icky, that's sticky, that you picked up, that's still like a clinging belief, you know, that somebody can belittle me, somebody can berate me, somebody can, you know, it's somebody, but it's really you externalized. Okay. And I know, I know that they are their own person too. Not everybody is like just a projection of us because, you know, that would be too much to fathom for people. But really, it is. Burp, burp. Okay, because it is. Because really, there's only 144,000, and everybody else is a fractal of a fractal of a fractal. And some people are the fractal of your demons. All right. All right. And so your demons are still going to come up because they want to stay safe. And so you get challenged. And even if you fail at that challenge, you never fail as long as you're reflecting this. I was saying earlier with my video, just got to turn and reflect. Just got to turn and reflect. You're not perfect. You're not perfect until you're perfected. And that's being fortified. And that's going through the purification. And honestly, yeah. Okay. And until all of the samskaras, all of the shadows are burned out of your DNA, you're going to have those experiences. And that doesn't mean that you're not in alignment. That doesn't mean that you're not loving, that you're not a good being, that you're not Christ in the body. You know, it just means that you're in your fortification still, and that's okay. Okay. So what is being expressed in our cosmos and what's coming through back to this is the death and the life, the codon ring of life and death, okay? And the codon ring of destiny and the absorption and the final flowering and the omniscience. And these all fucking play together. The omniscience is part of Gene Key 20 and presence. What the presence is omniscience, which is the 17, okay? The all-seeing eye, the omniscience. And but the presence is more of the flood of the light of the Christ light flooding your body as the crown opens, as the sacred Om, you know, silence dawns, and it annihilates all the mental plane, all of the mind. It annihilates it. There's no more thinking, no more second guess. You don't do anything because it's just the divinity. It's the Christ light flowing through you, period. And decisions just get made. You know, this is, you look into its programming partner, Jinky 34, where it's like, oh, wait, beep, beep. It's where I'm just mimicking when you hear me say beep, beep, it's because my phone's going off and I see these or hear that as like, yes, yes. All right. So it goes from the 34 goes from force, where it's like my will over thy will. I do it, I can do it, I can force it, I can make it happen. The seeking, the making, the constant doing energy. So from the force into the strength, which is the flow and knowing that the divine in your life, everything is just going to happen. You can try to force it, you can try to control it, make your plans. God laughs. Man plans, God laughs. You know that? So this gets into the strength. And that moves us into the majesty, where epiphany meets majesty. Okay, I guess it wants me to read through a little bit of this one. Okay. So Jinky 34 has an unusual attribute that remains at all its levels of frequency, that of being unaware. Force is unaware of itself and leads to destruction. Strength is unaware of itself and leads to admiration. And here its peak is the city of majesty. Majesty blossoms. Do you see how this shit's coming together? Majesty blossoms. This is the majesty of the human form in motion. The form itself is pure awareness, which is why it cannot be awareness of something. It is pure awareness. We're fucking pure light, but we've been attached to the materialistic aspect of our senses and our feelings and our experiences and identification with a 3D experience. but we're just light. I was at the funny story, side note. No. Yes, why not? Okay. Side note. I was at the airport and my dispenser, the soap dispenser wasn't catching my frequency. My sink wasn't catching my frequency. And I was like, damn it, I must just have such a high frequency. My frequency right now, it will not pick up, and the lady's like, you just need to be still. And I put my hand underneath it and nothing was dispensing. I said, do you know that we're electromagnetic beings and that this is based off of frequency? And I was like, okay. And so there was like a splash of soap that, fell onto the sink. And I just grabbed that and put my hands together and then went back to a sink and then, did that. Anyways, as I was walking out, a lady goes, did she really just say that we're electromagnetic beings? And I hadn't been all the way out the door yet. And I popped back in. I said, yes, I did. And yes, we are. And I walked out. Okay. All right, Peter. Well, thanks for hanging with us. So yeah, so essentially we're light, we're frequency, and we're coming into experiencing that pure source awareness, that flood of light, that flash of light. And that comes from the expansion, the understanding, the embodiment of the blackness, the void, the absorption point, which is where we're at, the core. The core is going into this absorption and then blossoming into the pureness of what we are. Okay. And the 34 is what is this majesty, where epiphany meets majesty. The 34, the programming partner, or where the earth sign is at in the evolution, current collective evolution sphere, is what is coming to fruition for us. So let me finish this one. It is quite simple. It quite simply reveals true beauty of consciousness in form. Majesty, it is not really a state of being. In truth, it is the truth of all nature in motion. At the acidic level of being, everything alive displays majesty. Even the struggles of the low frequency are revealed as majestic in their own distorted ways. But the 34th city, in actuality, concerns humanity more than any other aspect of the human DNA. It is the city of the naked ape, of Adam and Eve, of the divine energy that constantly moves through the human form, which Adam and Eve, if you think about it, are yin and yang, the dark and the light, the electromagnetic magnetism that move through us, that creates that toroidal field. The apple, Eve ate the apple and somehow Adam got it caught in his fucking throat, right? You know what I'm saying? We learned how to spit the seeds and they just kept swallowing. Okay, perverted joke done. Yeah, that was a perverted joke. I did that, sorry. But not sorry, it's bad. It's my humor. That's the Scorpio. All right. Everything's about sex. Because everything is about the sex. Everything is about sex, baby. Okay. So there's so many levels to this and how this is unfolding. It's still going to be a human experience. I want to say that. It's still going to be a human experience. The flowering, the blooming, it's so human. It seems so mystic. It seems so untouchable. But baby, it's touchable because we've always been the light. It's always been us. That's what presence is. The majesty, the epiphany in this is like, it's always been, we always have been, but we've been lost in our senses and our emotions. Da, 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 da. The flooding, the flowering. It's not like you see a flower come out of the top of your head. Your aura is going to emanate a higher frequency. Your life is going to display a higher frequency. You're still going to be human. It's just the operation of your conscious, perceptual, projected reality and embrace and experiences are going to be from a higher dimensional timeline, and so it's still human, but your aura is going to have a different impact. And like, yeah, it's the omniscience embodied. It's the Godhead embodied. It's Jesus became Christ. Oh. Okay, continue. I've got all the visions. coming through for this one, but I want to continue to let this go, to run through as it's supposed to. So the divine energy, okay, so it is the city of the naked ape, of Adam and Eve, of the divine energy that constantly moves through the human form. It is though the 34th city that we get, it is through the 34th city that we get the idea of man as God. This notion has been immortalized in our myths, in which the gods appear on earth to take the physical shapes, or through man's attempts to convey divine authority on certain chosen people throughout history. The great paradox is that if gods were to assume the shape of humans, they would never know they were gods. This is the true meaning of the 34th city. The divine essence of creation can only move freely through the body when the identity has ceased to exist. Such people move in a way that is bewitching to the eye. Out of this city have arisen the physical practices that aim at higher consciousness, for example, mudras, asanas of yoga, or the movements of Tai Chi, all of which are spontaneous expressions of divinity moving through the form of someone within whom the 34th city have once dawned. The sacred movements, gestures, and dances contain the codes of higher consciousness. They contain the codes of higher consciousness. It's just because they're just allowing the breath, which is life, to move through them. And then other people take note of it, of how natural and at ease these people are, because they're in presence and they're in their divine majesty, and their aura is mwah, because they're not like in rigidity, they're not in fear, they're not in struggle, they're not in grief, they're not shaming themselves, they're feeling rejected, they're not feeling rejected by God, they're not rejecting other people. Might have boundaries, 100% have boundaries. Like, bitch, get the fuck out of here. Like, you don't even need that though whenever you're actually emanating the acidic frequencies, because you just repel, and those people can't see you, they can't hear you. You're untouchable, essentially. Listen to that song by The Score, Untouchable. Oh, it's unstoppable, unbreakable. It's lyrics. Catch the lyrics. Anyways, and so the most mystical part about this experience is going to be that it's still human, because the most divine thing that we can be is human. All we're here to do is to not necessarily, I was talking about the silica-based body. That's because it didn't make, but anyways, because I was allowing for what imagination to get the best of me, or allow, there is an essence to the form that we're going to be taking on, like the form that will be the rainbow body. That's it. That means that all your chakras are in alignment. That means that your silica-based body, plasma DNA, is active. And you're going to, when we see it radiating more light, it just means that we're lighter and our auras are brighter. Our impact is more. It's more impactful. Our words, our deeds, everything is more impactful, because people can feel it, regardless if they want to believe that they're feeling it. That's their bullshit they got to deal with, but they are feeling it, even if it's more agitating to their demons, or if it's bringing people to tears of bliss and gratitude because their heart is open and wanting that energy. And so thinking that we actually turn into iridescent beings, maybe, but the more I sit with this, the more I'm like, no, but maybe, do we disappear to another realm? I can't cancel things out, but what I'm trying to get at is that it's so fucking mystical, it's mundane. It's mundane, but it's so blissful, and the reality that we're projecting from this flood, this white hole to the black hole to the absorption, and it's this flowering, the flowering of the cities, and this enlightened reaching nirvana and moksha. Like, these are, again, the divine flowing through you. There is no attachment to your personal identity. There's no attachment to your your personal reality. You're just allowing, and it's so easily seen in artists, like like good artists, not just like, you know what I'm saying, a real artist. Like I mean, like a paintbrush artist is what I'm talking about right now. It's easily seen in somebody that's in the flow of creation. That's God working through them, and they're still in a human body. But so many times they'll be like, I don't even remember like what it was just channeled. I'm channeling this. That word channeling, it gets, a bad association. I used to have a bad association with it too, because I'd see people like Bashar, or I'd see people that I'd get to get into a, you don't have to do anything. That's force, and that's a demon. And that's where I was like, I don't like channeling, because they're channeling demons. It's like, get me a demon in my body. I'm an Arcturian. Whatever. Okay, that's the shit that drove me nuts. And yes, I can still sit here and clown on them all the fuck I want. Whatever, you got your opinions on that if you channel like that. Fuck off. That's the truth. I love you too. But I channel, but it ain't fucking like, I need to beam me up, Scotty, and get into a certain radio station. Beavis in my head. Okay, like channeling in this pure sacred flow. All right, this again, it's that it's that flow. It's the divine. It's presence moving through you. It's the majesty without the force. And so continuing on, and again, these comes through. The 34 is about. It's more of a physical gene key. Where am I going with that? The beauty of the beast, the codon ring of destiny, and the sacral plexus, creation. Yeah. Oh, so it's Sagittarius. Okay, yeah, of course. It's immutable fire. It's creation. Blah. Pure creation energy. So moving on. There is no such path to get to these higher states. It's an unfolding, like a lot of the messages I've been bringing through with presence have been like, you don't have to seek. Like, even though my whole journey has been fucking seeking, because I've been in force, I've been in like fight or flight for a good amount, because I was in fight or flight before. And then when my security blanket, my safety net of my reality, my worldview all came crashing down, I went into hypervigilance, hypervigilance of fight or flight. And my fight or flight is seeking self-gnosis, seeking to know the answers, seeking stability, seeking guidance, seeking. And do we really need all that? No, but can it be part of your process? Fuck yeah. But the human addiction, which is what I've been talking a lot with Jupiter, is the seeking, is the constant seeking for, even if you've attained awareness around the Christ and your personal livelihood, and they still seek. And it's like somebody that's like had ayahuasca and they've already had that connection, or DMT, or they've had these psychedelic experiences, and they want more. It's an addiction to the connection that it's an instant gratification, and so the seeking, it becomes addicting, and then humanity has an addiction to seeking. It just isn't. So it's about letting go and just being in these present moments. And when you are in the present moments, that's whenever the asana or the sacred movement flows through, or the inspired action, or the novel or the poetry flows through you. It's whenever you get into stillness and pause and you stop seeking, and the mind can just be at ease with, okay, and how do I stop my mind? Just okay, keep telling it okay, 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 keep doing that. Okay, well, blah 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 blah. Okay, even if you're not okay, you're a cunt. Okay, I wish I would have had that response last night. No, but anyways, okay, just get there. Okay, tell yourself okay. Oh, and I figured out what the Donald Duck stuff was. it was a few weeks back, and Donald Duck kept coming through a lot. Donald Duck was coming through a lot, and it dawned on me like when I got to California what it was. And I remember my stepdad and I had a conversation one time, and I was telling him I can't get these fucking thoughts to stop. Just can't stop them, Dad. And he told me that whenever they start, that just think of Donald Duck and put Donald Duck. I think I've even explained this in the live, whatever, long time ago. But think of Donald Duck just in your head as your inner critic or those thoughts. And he's like, and then you'll just have to laugh. And that's why I kept getting Donald Duck, because I was in my my mental was just like overloaded. 1 second. Opie, come here. Come here. Get on the couch. Get on the couch. Lay down. Go lay down. Good boy. Good boy. Stop barking at the boys. Leave them alone. Okay? You're one of them, but not right now. He's sitting at the door. Rawr, rawr, let me in. Rawr. But then he gets riled up, and anyways, just lay down. So that's where the Donald Duck was coming in. So maybe use that. Maybe use that. Instead of the okay, just think of Donald Duck in your head. All right. Moving forward through the 34. What else do I want to say here? Oh, okay. It's all about spontaneity. Essentially, that's what it is. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about people, about me, about my life, is I just live so spontaneously. I don't really have a whole lot of goals, aspirations, and all this shit, because again, I've made plans and God laughed. I had goals, I had aspirations. Not to say that you can't have them, that they're not good, but they're for your ego. And I've already had all that. I had a multi-million-dollar fucking day spa. I had and it was all with good intent and love. And I made those plans and God laughed. And it really humbled me. And I know there's a lot of people that have lost a business and they got up and made another business. And I did, but mine was a spiritual based business. That was the next thing I stepped into. And I tend to not make a lot of goals with this, because it is there's so much fluctuation that I have found it to be redundant to make a bunch of goals. I can do things within it, but it's not to set, expectations necessarily. It's just to be open and flowing. And my life has set me up to be that way with it. I have so much in Sagittarius. I have a lot of planets in Sagittarius. And so I'm naturally very spontaneous, naturally very mutable, flowy energy. Where am I going with that? Why? I mean, I guess by being the living example of, allowing God to work through us. We allow God to work through us in many ways. And God doesn't work through us when we're rigid. God works through us whenever we're fully fucking surrendered. And the beginning of my journey fully surrendered me, even though I went into hypervigilance, even though I went into fight or flight with the seeking, but there was such a fluidity to that seeking. Because I always came back to God. God is, because I have so much Sagittarius, which deals with religion and raising of your personal awareness, and through studies and adventures and just a lot of experiences. That's what Sagittarius is about. That it has taught me. I have learned through those many times of being humbled, just to let go. Glad to let go. And the hardest lesson for me has been to let go of this relationship that I've clinged on to for so long, that created what I considered stability, very toxic stability, but stability. But that's what I grew up in. And so, anyways, I don't know, I'm telling you that. Maybe somebody else has that experience. There you go. So let's move on. Okay, so the highest art here, I want to say One just has to realize that their origins, Okay, so let me read this. When they are copied, he's talking about the movements. The problem of the sacred movements is I can't read these pieces without reading the whole fucking thing. Okay. So, because then it won't make sense. The problem of the sacred movements is that they were originally spontaneous expressions of higher consciousness. When they are copied, they are no longer spontaneous, even though they may lead to glimpses of higher consciousness. None of this is to say that sacred movements and practices are worthless, right? They are a natural stage for many people on the path towards transcendence. Remember, those are the neurological pathways out in the morphogenetic field that people have the ability to take, right? Mujas, asanas, teachings, gene keys, right? They've been formed and we follow. And that makes it easier for us. Like I wouldn't be where I'm at without the gene keys, point blank and period. Okay. So at all. One just has to realize their origins. Out of the 34th city also comes the highest level of martial arts with their notion that true strength lies in emptiness. The highest art of Qigong, for example, is known as empty force, in which the practitioner has dissolved all semblance of identity and has become a conduit for the intelligence of life itself. This is also where we get the concept of no mind in the highest art form of Zen Buddhism. If this city dawns in a person, they do not communicate through words or language, but through their actions and movements. Many of these people were the originators of the sacred arts, such as calligraphy, music, dance, and art. Were the originators. All right, yes. A work of art done by someone with the 34th city is always regarded as a work of unparalleled genius and originality. Like I think of like booty yoga, like where it's like fast beat, like bouncing around booty yoga. Have you guys seen that one? I really like that. You know, Zumba, I also feel it's like a form. I feel like all of these modern dance, except forms, are a form of the 34 working through people. Like this is we live in a fast-paced society. Like I don't know. Anyways, 34 is also Sagittarius, fire energy. Many of these people were the originators. Nevertheless, for the Siddhic artist, the art itself is in the doing, whereas the results are meaningless. This truth is beautifully symbolized by the Tibetan sand art. Okay. And okay, so the 34th city contains another great secret concerning awakening. This is what I wanted to read. Through its genetic connection to its programming partner, the 20th city of presence, the 34th city requires that an individual transcend their genetic fear of survival by bringing their presence fully into every moment. The challenge for the individual is to let go of his or her individuality, which feels like their very essence. Indeed, your survival appears threatened by dissolution into the ocean of presence. In truth, this is the whole point. You cannot survive the leap into the Siddhic level. The final surrender required of you before dying into the Siddhic frequency is the surrender of your physical body and the vibration of its movement. Stillness. It doesn't say that, but it's stillness. Once you have entered the Siddhic frequency, all fear is purged from your system, and the pure awareness of your body's physical intelligence is revealed. It is as though the entire universe were moving through your body. Think of Neo when he's like dodging the bullet kind of thing. Okay, like that stillness, like that's it. Consciousness is seeing everything moving around it. Like the Smiths, they can move super, super fast, but you're just like, I see everything that you're about to do. All right, so yeah, this is the Neo key. The Neo key. I like that. Oh, the neocortex. Is it in the neocortex? No, this is in the sacral center. But then again, the sacral center connects you into the womb of creation. So this is, okay, going to have a lot to do with the sacred arts returning. And like, I would say we're returning, but I don't believe that we are the second coming of Christ. I believe that we're the finished. We're the seventh root race, the all. And this is where we do return to the divinity, the Garden of Eden, and our hologram completely fucking changes. But that's my, if you know the end, you know the beginning. When you know the beginning, you know the end. And like, and that's my dilemma. But that's what I know. But that doesn't mean that that's necessarily where everybody else is at. I don't know. Anyways, so the 34th city demonstrates one of the key attributes of life itself, that of efficiency. And the codon ring of destiny, destiny, the epiphany of the higher planes encounters and infuses the majesty of the body of the lower planes. And that is the essence too, is like spirit to fully descend into the fucking body, to be the full living embodiment of spirit in body, in form, which is like the fays, the elven beings, elven consciousness, fays, the orbs. Like, fuck, I do believe that we turn into orby, semi-etheric beings. But that's my belief. The result is pure fusion as spirit enters matter and imbues it with divinity. When life is not interfered with in any way, it becomes highly fluid and efficient. The more you try to force life to flow where you would like it to go, as opposed to where it wants to go, the less efficient you become and the more energy you use. The most commonly used analogy to this aspect of the 34th city is the comparison of the life force to water. The very softest thing of all. This is by Lao Tzu, whatever. The very softest thing of all can ride like a galloping horse through the hardest of things, like water penetrating rock. And so the invisible enters in. That is why I know it is wise to act by doing nothing, and how very few understand this. And the invisibility is gene key. Invincibility is 9. Invisibility is 26. Yeah. And fuck, that's my Jupiter. I was just going to contemplate that tonight. Anyways, so the invisibility is, that makes so much sense now. All right, anyways, the invisibility is, you can't see God. We call it God, good old divine timing, divine frequency, divine love, divinity, Holy Spirit. It flows through everything. It's the invisible, it's the ether, it's the consciousness that is of all consciousness, right? Of light, that is the invisible light, right? The plasma, the ether, the sixth element, what we call God. But people can't believe in God, so they deal with force. It's all will. It's just all will. You made it through sheer force. You made it through the will of you. And I'm like, no, man, I made it through God. Like, God's the only thing that got me through this. It wasn't me. It was me. I would have been shooting up and fucking shot my brains out a few times by now. I'm not gonna lie. My life's been really fucked. It's been really hard. I had a lot of demons. Came into a lineage that was not easy. But it wasn't me that got me through it. It was God, and not like your biblical religious bullshit God, the Lord and Savior Jesus. Fuck that. No, it was God, good old divine, sending people in at the right time, putting a bird, using divine to use a bird that are hollow to sit next to me so I didn't throw the fucking suitcase off the cliffs at Sunset Cliffs in San Diego. When my mom died, I wanted to unalive myself because I couldn't handle it anymore. I didn't know how to deal with that amount of pain. But it's God. God uses people. God is in everything. Flowers, the wind, the trees. Divinity is everywhere and in everything, and we call that God. That's what it is. And some people can't believe that. They don't believe in signs because they haven't allowed themselves, because they're so scared. They're scared. So this is where the codon ring of life and death comes in. And where they're so fucking scared to let go of control. because they have to micromanage every fucking waking moment and second of their life. The goals, the rituals, the doing, so that they can keep their sense of safety. But that's what this time frame, in my perspective, is all about, is breaking through Saturn, through your false sense of structure, fear, false energy appearing real, false energetic appearances that seem real. Like your relationship, get that taken away from you. Was it really real? Did they really love you? Is any love outside of you as real as the love of God in you? Because if it's not in you, if that love of God isn't in you, then nothing outside of you will be real. It'll be false in its expression and its representation. It'll be inverted in some way. It'll have conditions to it, expectations to it. And that's not godly. That's conditional. That's man-made. And that's why all these man-made structures are falling. That means relationships. That means all of the corporations, the monetary system, all that is going to go. And I really do believe that we are going to transfigure into a different form. And I do believe that, you know, there is a fractal that is going to have this blooming, and they're going to be the living embodiment, as Jesus was that representation in his time, as Buddha was that representation in his time, as many avatars that are not even talked about, like Muhammad, or, you know, in his time, you know, Kuan Yin in her time, you know, White Buffalo in her time, you know, like Quetzalcoatl. I mean, but these are also symbols and of God consciousness, of people attaining this unattainable acidic frequency. They must be gods. You know, that's where the 34 comes, must be gods. These are our Olympians. These are our Hercules. These are the 34. And that's the programming partner to where the sun is at, to Earth. Okay. But that's the 34 is the embodiment. It's the human, the normal fucking human, that is allowing for the programming partner 20 the presence to flow through them without obstruction, without force, without trying to make it show up in some way, without identity to how it's done or how it should be. They're the living embodied, they're the living gods. They are the living gods. Everybody is or has a potential. But when we step into these frequencies, these in our DNA, everybody has access to this, whether you have it in your hologenetic profile or not. Your profile is your synapses, your imprinting is just to assist you in getting you into your God consciousness. And what your soul found would be the fastest way or the most direct line of rites of passage for you in this life to get you into this state, if your vessel is meant for it. Otherwise, you're going to go through the wheel of samsara and the wheel of reincarnation. People are like, well, we got to get rid of the whole wheel of reincarnation. Well, that's what the end times is about. When you'll walk in peace and harmony forever, that means that humanity is done with its evolution. And some people want to cling to the reincarnation because the life that they had in this life wasn't what they wanted. It's like, I'll just come back and do it again. Like, no, it's actually done. What you don't do now, it's done. You'll have to go figure it out on another plane, another dimension of expression, because this it's wrapping up, it's blooming. Yeah, it's the 7th initiate. It's done. So it's, I mean, that's my opinion. Again, I believe it, but I'm being guided to express this and to be the embodiment of that without force. I didn't, it wasn't like I wanted to come on here and be a motherfucking martyr. No. And be even in rebellious expression to my teacher. But a good teacher will always tell you that if they're a good teacher, their students will be better. And that would make Red a really great teacher. He's made a lot of great students, really great students. And so what do I want to get to with the, we're back to the 20. Okay, so the absorption, the black hole, the white hole. So there's a great video that Devin put out on Flat Earth Paradise probably 2 or 3 years ago. And this man is well beyond his years. He's very wise. Um, but the simulation theory, and this kind of really plays into Richard Rudd's the 60th gene key, when, the beings that have held the consciousness of Gaia herself, when justice happens, the final judgment, right? Divine justice, gene key 60 happens, the Merkaba, the chariot of light, these beings will disappear in an instant. So Devin has a beautiful video that talks about us, once we have reached Eden, the states of Edonic consciousness, we've returned to the Godhead, to the omniscience, and we've embodied that. Then, again, there's a video, in that video, it's showing people with their silver cord attached to their ankles, and they go back into the black hole. And there's so much mythos that's around inner earth, and the beings at the Mount Meru, at Shambhala, and like there's a lot of Eastern cultures that have this depicted as well, as people that lived at the center. Well, that's the thing, is we start from the center. Let me use this as a map here, my mouse pad. We start at the center, and then with the center pedal, right, goes, you get push the pedal and it goes out, the gas goes out, we move forward. Okay, so that's a pedal it's a clockwise, so it's a coming outness. It's an energy that's coming out. And then the centrifugal is when we come back in, and again, that's us coming back into the center. So, I mean, I can see this imagery that he had utilized in that video as yes, as that would make so much more sense, because we've been in this externalized, white sun reality, the conscious projected sun, and then we go into the absorption, which is we go back into the inner, and this is where we're talking about elven consciousness, fey consciousness. We're talking about orbs of light and how to be back into the center of the earth, and this perfect harmony where where all things begin, all things end. Where you begin is where you end. And it's not that we have to restore this world out here and live in harmony in this world out here. It's like we live in harmony in the inner of the earth, in this I I could be foreseeing the future too. I mean, take it as you fucking will. But I do believe that so many people want to have that human experience, that want to live and have the love of their life, and have the car and the house and the dreams, and have that completely blissed out manifested external reality, which is a probability. It's a fucking very, very strong probability, but that would denote that we are the second coming of Christ, and that we are, going to help people live in harmony. And then that would pretty much take away the whole Tartarian reign period. So, I don't know. I sit with it, but I'm not attached to having the life of my dreams in this external reality, because I believe that whenever we come into the center, our center, and our earth, our inner earth, that is the ultimate reality. That's what the throne of God. Who's to say that there isn't sex, that there isn't food? All of that's all depicted. When you see Adam and Eve, don't eat the fruit. What does that mean? It is, you know what I'm saying? Like, I do believe that all of this existed at the center and in the beginning, Lumerian consciousness and the cosmos. And I believe what makes it different is the pain and suffering. That's don't eat the fruit. Don't eat the fruit of the tree of what is it? The tree of knowledge. Don't eat that fruit, because then that brings in, I want to know, curiosity. Curiosity killed the cat, essentially, is Adam and Eve. Eve eating the apple, whatever. Although that to me is electromagnetism. I see that in a completely different light than how it's proverbially, I don't know how to say that one, expressed in the Bible. But anyways, I believe that all bliss is at the center too. I believe that we've just been living in the suffering and the hell and the damnation because we got to process it. Our curiosity, and we came out, we got curious, we fucked around, we found out, we got to clean our karma up. You know what I'm saying? Like we fucked around and then we found out. And like, okay, well, I want to go home now. I cleaned my karma. My boots are clean. I cleaned my feet. Watch, my feet are clean now, you know, of all the sins from the sine wave. They're not dirty. And I'm going to go in now. I'm going to go back in. And that's the purification process. And then you go back into the gates of heaven and you'll walk for eternity in love and joy until you get bored again and you want to come out and have another. I don't think we're going to have an earthly experience because the only reason why humans are created was to experience the heart plane. We're the gardeners of the earth. And once we've evolved back into the celestial planes, that's the heart. We've healed the heart. We've descended all the way down to the root chakra, healed the heart causal plane, heart causal. It dissolves back into the Buddhic. It dissolves, it becomes one with the Buddhic, and this is the higher echelons of the divine being. You know, its heart is open, it's toroidal moving and grooving, and its expression is from the throat chakra, the Buddhic plane, and the atmic in the crown. This is cosmic. And so we'll never have to have, unless we want to go to another cosmo, unless we like have sex with another giant cosmic being and make another world and do it all over again, which fuck it, maybe probably haven't done that a couple 100,000 times too. Just saying, we're not on a globe, but we are in a cosmic being. And they fuck around. And they create worlds. That's what, it's all about. It's creating worlds. That's why we create worlds. We create realities, little mini worlds, right? Because we're the expression of the macro. At least that's my Gnostic perception. You fucking take it if you will or not. I don't know. If we're made in the image of God, then how the fuck not? If we're going around fucking people, why wouldn't God? Why wouldn't good old divine Sophia and Christ? Get wiki with the na 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 na. They had immaculate conception too. I mean, there's that. Whatever. I don't know. Anyways, I'm sidetracked all over the place. So essentially, what is coming through is the absorption, the white hole to the black hole, the yin and the yang, and the completion point, and the final flowering, and the return to the Garden of Eden. Which is a expression, the creation. It's also, but this is a step-by-step process. So the sacred octave, the omniscience, omnipresence. And again, it can be as simple and as beautiful as being the most mystical, mundane human experience ever. And you do that would be the second coming of Christ. And you do live in this higher frequency and this interaction. And then at the utmost, like mystical of mystical experiences, it would be the seventh root race, the completion, and the reset of this entire hologram into a Buddhic plane, a Buddhic expression where you see divine, crystal caverns, and it's the Buddhic plane manifested into a semi-etheric form. And what we would see is Shambhala, right? That Edonic world, like completely projected into what we'd be living on would be the Buddhic plane. Anyways, so there's multiple things that are coming through from me and my awareness, and options. God, we know we love our options. So take and pick and choose what you want. But the mundane part of this is that we are still human, like until we're flooded with that light, with the rainbow body. And I have been getting rainbow body. Even my daughter on the plane ride home yesterday, she was like, "Mom, look at this cookie I got." And it's on her fucking video game on her tablet. And it's a damn cookie man, right? Rainbow Body Cookie Man. I think I shared it to maybe did I share it to the Telegram, or I just sent it to Stephanie? There, I'll throw it over to the Telegram. I was so excited, 30,000 feet in the air. I don't even know how Stephanie I got a text message from Stephanie at 30,000 feet in the air, and I was not connected to the Wi-Fi at all. I was listening to downloaded music. Is it there? Did I put it there? I did. Yeah. It's there. See? It's the rainbow cookie. It was a rainbow cookie. Rainbow body. So let's talk about that. I'm in Jinky 22. I don't even know why I flipped to that. The land, the milk and honey. Okay. And that's the opening of the seventh seal also. And the glorification, the body of glory. Let's get there. Ooh, baby. You know what I want. Okay. That song's in my head. Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. They say that heaven, love comes first. Okay. All right. So the ninth and final initiation brings an end to the story of consciousness. And on an individual level, the ninth initiation can only take place through silence. Motherfucker, I'm done. Can only take place through silence. Okay. And that is what this is creating. I'm telling you, this is not for everybody. This is not. It's not. It's not. You got the codes, you've got the alignment, you got it. There's not a lot of seeking you need to do. You don't need to beat yourself up for being human. And you're going to be human until you're divine, fully divine. Okay? Till it fully floods you. I'm going to finish reading this though. The ninth initiation can only take place through silence. In certain esoteric traditions, it is referred to also as the refusal. After this initiation, the indwelling awareness refuses to materialize and dissolves back into the primordial essence from which it was born. Tradition tells us that only a very few great initiates have taken the ninth initiation to date. It is during this final initiation that the first and the seventh body are fused together. The physical form then ascends and completes its final great destiny. And that's a great destiny, that the physical form then ascends and completes its final great destiny. And that's the final flowering. That's the blooming. You know, let me go to the 15. Let me read the city of the 15 for you. Boom. Alhambra. I have that written in my book, Alhambra, at the bottom. Alhambra deals with the Keylontic science, the Keylontic, the Alhambra Council, which are the Inner Earth Council. Motherfucker, it's the Inner Earth Council. I'm telling you, gotta have certain codes for this. Oh man. I tell you. All right. So the ring of seeking, fluorescence. Fluorescence. People born with the 15th gene key prominent in their hologenetic profile are nearly always born at or close to the summer solstice. This is because the power of the solstice, which is on the 20th, is the 20th and 21st, whatever. So the 21st is the full moon, the 20th is solstice. So both days, whatever. Solstice is the power of fluorescence. When all of nature is reaching its zenith. A person manifesting the 15th city thus has a vibrancy that is simply irresistible. Fluorescence as a word goes much further than the word flowering. Fluorescence refers to a process of exponential bursting into flower, as though the focus is not simply on a single flower, but an entire tree of flowers all bursting into bud at the same time, which makes me think of like a magnolia tree or a Japanese cherry blossom tree. Also want to throw in there, my daughter's been talking, yesterday there was a lot of talk about bioluminescence, okay? And like the ocean, and I don't remember who we were sitting next to. Oh no, it was my sister. And it was not last night, it was the night before. So, okay, yeah, the night before. They're talking about bioluminescence because they went to, my sister had gone, they do cruise trips all the time. Anyways, and they were talking about where they went last. There was like they wanted to see the bioluminescence, and Charlie's like, "Oh, they had that here in Florida just recently, the bioluminescence." And like they did, but I wasn't about to take my ass out on a kayak at night to go and see this shit. No way. No. I could have been on a pontoon boat or something, but don't have me on a kayak, sharks and shit in the water. You're crazy. Yes, I'm scared. I like my limbs, because it would just be my luck that like I wouldn't actually die. I would just be limbless, not lifeless, limbless. Anyways, okay. Those are my fears. It's not the fear of death. It's the fear of being delimbed, like being alive and then being bound to do nothing. The worst thing a Sagittarius could ever have is like no motion. Put me in like stillness. What are you talking about? It's been my problem all my life. I just can't sit still. Look at me wiggling around right now. All right. Anyways, fluorescence getting the emergence of Shambhala, motherfucker. So that's what this is. The emergence of Shambhala. Let's continue on. Fluorescence. The 15th city can only occur when the mind has completely given up control. And then not all go together. Okay, fine. Maybe there's a purpose to having both astrologies going. Fluorescence is utterly confusing to the mind. It is too spontaneous, too unpredictable, and too wild for the mind to follow, let alone manage. It would be rather like a writer writing 100 books simultaneously and jumping at random between them all, whilst at the same time holding down 100 other jobs and moving randomly between them. Fluorescence follows nature's own wild organic rhythms, which demand an attitude of trust, surrender, and childish delight. When you come into perfect harmony with the Schumann resonance, time itself will stop within your being. This is an impossible experience to relay in words. In the words of Christ, it is when we mystically inherit the earth. We come to experience the mystery of philos anthropos, the pure love of humanity embodied in the principle of philanthropy, which is of service. Philanthropy is to be of service. All of life is now seen as philanthropic, constantly giving its own essence back into the whole. Which was coming up for me earlier was the Jupiter, was the Pearl sequence. And I was actually reading the Pearl this morning. I woke up, that was the first thing I read this morning before anything, coffee, anything. I was reading the Pearl, and the path of service specifically, which is whenever you've got your life's work and Jupiter and your core, anyways. And so that would be when we inherit the earth and we to be of service. And I have talked about this and how we go around assisting others like Christ, and that would be the second coming of Christ. But it wouldn't be unnatural for me to have this awareness of the seventh root race, even if we were going to be the sixth root race. It would actually be innate. I'd have to know it. Anyways, all right. I'm such a paradox. You don't have to listen to everything that I say. Believe me, I confuse myself. I'm a paradox. All right. I believe both. All right, so this codon ring of seeking is currently undergoing a deep mutative process that is changing the essential rhythmic structure of all life on our planet. Above all, it is bringing humans into greater awareness of the delicate balance of living biological systems, and in particular, plants. Bioluminescence comes from chemosynthesis, the plants at the bottom of the ocean that get their nutrients not from our sun, ball of heat, plasma projection, but from the black sun and the volcanic ash and all of that from the internal sun. Just like those caves that are like tropical forest, in China, miles under, that don't even see the sun, right? It comes from, so that kind of leads to, well, is photosynthesis really what we've been taught? Question everything, friends, as the impossible dreamer likes to say in all of his videos. Question everything. As the pressure of human seeking burns away the greenness of our planet through pollution and industrial expansion, we are coming to realize that we are also responsible for these great changes in global rhythms. Our climate, blah, not going into that, Deep within the genetic codon, the dynamic energy of liberation is moving via the electrical and explosive 39th gene key. This gene key in its higher frequency, it's the shadow of provocation. The gift of dynamism, right? This gene key in its higher frequency is actually a precursor of the great change that will transform all life on this earth through the 55th gene key. So provocation leads to liberation. But it all begins with the codon here in the codon ring of seeking. This makes sense why I'm talking about the ring of seeking so much. With an amino acid known as serine, human seeking will eventually burn itself out, like I feel like it has. That is the higher trajectory we as a species are following. Whatever it looks like on the surface. Oh, and I've been talking about that surface level superficiality. Whatever it looks like on the surface, that is the higher trajectory as we as a species are following. Whatever it looks like on the surface. It's burning its shit out. Each of the 6 gene keys in this codon will awaken in a sequence, beginning with the 39th gene key and ending with the 15th. As this awakening moves through humanity and nature, we will experience powerful, subtle earth changes as our primary magnetic grids are recalibrated to higher frequencies. Motherfucker, because that's it. It's a magnetic grid. It's magnetism. It's just like us. It's magnetism. The electric is the output. The magnet is the bring it in, bitch. Bring it in. Bring it in. And so the Schumann resonance, when we become more aware of ourselves, it ain't the motherfucking sunlight out there. Fake sun bullshit distraction. Anyways, it is us internally going, gimme, gimme, gimme. Oh, why do I have all these songs? It's ABBA in my head. Gimme, gimme, gimme. All right, what one? Met my man after midnight. That's the song. Come on, won't somebody take me away? Gimme, gimme, gimme your man. Oh, that's a cheater song. But anyways, that's a song that's coming through. Motherfucker, that's a cheater song. I don't like the song anymore. My mom used to bump ABBA. Like, we bump music today. Anyways. I love you. She gets it. I call her bitch all the time. Now it's throwing me into distraction. Magnetism. The magnetism. So we're magnetic, like the more that we are aware of ourselves, our Christ consciousness, we're magnetizing in a higher fucking frequency. That is the 8th octave. That is the Om. That is a sacred Om. And it is our duty, our responsibility to fulfill this and to bring this. And we are provoking people around us. We are provoking our environment. And our environment is provoking us back. And we are going to be skyrocketed, liberated through a dynamic propulsion. That's the 39th gift, right? Or dynamism. Motherfucking can never have had a tongue twister saying that for a long time. Dynamism 39. I'm so glad that I studied this shit. Oh no, for so long. My book is falling apart. Yeah, it's the gift of dynamism. And it's the pressure of creativity. And where's the city? Hold on. Oh, in the city of liberation, the crux point. Okay. And so continuing to read this. So the 39th is that precursor to liberation. All right. So it provokes, creates a dynamic, and then it liberates us into freedom. And the solar plexus, again, solar plexus starts apparatus, operates from a higher functioning. Okay. And that's our solar plexus mutation. And we switch suns from our local sun consciousness, which is our self-centered consciousness, because this is the sun that's self-centered. It's centered around the human or the ecliptic. And we bounce to the great central sun, which is Sirius. So Sirius. And it's our 6th dimensional sun. And we shift into a 5th dimensional experience while we have a 6th, 7th, and 8th dimensional sun. All right. But the primary magnetic grids are recalibrated to higher frequencies. Serious. Which is why we see Atlantis and ancient Egypt, and they have Isis. Serious Isis. and that sun and Horus and all the gods. And because we didn't speak with the human tongue, we spoke in telepathy and signs and symbols because they hold a resonance, which means they hold a frequency, and it's not manipulatable like words are. Like when you say nice, you're calling somebody stupid, right? Because that's what the human language is all built on, inversion. So it's all about intent anymore. We don't even work. It's why you can say, fuck that, motherfucker, fuck that shit, fuck that, bitch. Because when you say it like with intent, like my mom, like I call her a bitch all the time, love her, she's dead. But even alive, like, bitch, it was like, I love you, right? So it was all about intent, not about the words. Because bitch actually means dog. Anyways, female dog. You see what I mean? How we're at the end? This can't. Anyways, I'm over it. You take your own decision. You create the reality you want to see. What the 15th city really does for humanity is align us with higher evolution. It is always difficult to see evolutions beyond our own. By the way, that's my mind. My mind is the one that's like, well, maybe. But beyond the mind, the causal plane, is the God self that can see the higher shit. And that's why I'm like, no, I'm done. We're done. We're done. Anyways, nonetheless, they exist. Our great teachers and mythologies have always been aware of them. The earth itself contains subtle kingdoms of a far higher frequency than humanity. And these Delvic, which are Deva planes, kingdoms, are also preparing to take a leap in consciousness by merging with human consciousness. And that's why I was seeing orbs earlier. Stay around me. The greatest fluorescence will occur when hidden higher forces latent within the earth itself rise to the surface and absorb human consciousness. Okay? When forces latent within the earth itself rise to the surface and absorb human consciousness. This awakening from within has long been a part of all human mythology, which tells of great cities within the earth and a shining jewel at the center known as Shambhala or Agartha. Such myths testify to the genetic change that is sweeping through all DNA on our planet. It is even impacting the evolution of the galaxy and cosmos itself. Fluorescence is a mirror of the supernova we see in the heavens above. But it is a supernova that takes place within the structure of form itself. In a nutshell, fluorescence is the explosive chain reaction of enlightenment of all forms to the true nature of consciousness. It is stamped into the destiny of every living creature, and it is coming to humanity very soon. By the way, that's the codon ring of destiny. Well, that 15 is not part of that. But that's what it's talking about. Our destiny, Jinky 34, programming partner to the sun, where it's at right now. 34 and 43 make the codon ring of destiny. And it doesn't matter that even, it doesn't matter that tropical's into 15. I'm going to channel whatever fucking codon needs to come through because I'm a divine conduit for God. So it doesn't matter necessarily. I just like to follow the sidereal order, because when I look up and being a sailor that was on the ocean for 4 fucking years, working, and on a goddamn giant ass ship, when you don't have, like, obviously if I was a sailor in this life, I mean, I had to do something in my past life, or my ancestors did, that had to do with like navigation, star navigation, because that's how the fuck things got around. That's how we told time. It wasn't because we were like, okay, well, the sun is in, Gemini, but we got to go 23 degrees ahead of that. Let's take our little, whatever the fuck that thing is called. I can't remember what it's called. Compass. It's a compass. 23 degrees. Protractor compass. Yes. 23 degrees ahead. And then that's where it's at. No, it is where the fuck it is. Just like your front door is where the fuck it is. All right. I'm not talking about your postal box. I'm talking about your address and your front door. Because when I'm making my posts, I can feel comments. I can feel people, like possible comments that are coming. I don't know. Probable people. Anyways, doesn't matter. Point is, liberation, crux point. Why did I just turn to the 39th? Okay. There is always a point. Okay, we're talking about liberation, Jinky 39. I just jumped to this in my eyes being guided. There is always a point where the gift suddenly makes the quantum leap to the city, and the blossom becomes the fruit. In the case of the 39th gift, dynamism becomes liberation when it finally forgets itself entirely. The 39th gene key is highly individualistic. It has to be in order not to be taken in by the status quo. Unique creativity has to break out of all conditioned patterns in order to rise to the heights of genius. The ring of seeking provides the pressure that drives human beings to eventually transcend themselves. At the acidic state level, an interesting thing occurs when all the genetic pressure breaks through to a higher dimension. Consciousness merges back into the totality, which means that it has to give up its greatest gift, individual freedom. There's great irony here. Only in giving up the illusion of your individual freedom can you receive an even greater gift, the liberation of being. Few people are able to make the transition from creative genius to divinity because you must give up the very thing that appears to fuel your creativity, your individuality. To the genius, the giving up of one's individuality seems likened to death. But in order to attain a acidic state, you must pass through the gift level of consciousness and give up your seeking. This means that with every one of the 64 gene keys, you will have to give up your hard-earned gift in all its glory in order to make the final leap. Dynamism, as we have seen, feeds upon itself. To be dynamic is to create more and more possibilities through action. The byproduct of dynamism is, I have to pronounce it like that to say it correctly. The byproduct of dynamism is that it serves many people, which in turn raises its vibration. The more people you serve, the more rarefied your frequency becomes until one day you reach the crux point. The crux point is not easy to describe. It cannot be predicted and it cannot be prepared for. Mystics have usually described it as a death and a subsequent rebirth. In the 39th city, it feels like a physical death because this is such a physical, dynamic gene key. You have to put your entire being on the line. All your plans, creativity, work, intent, and service must be surrendered into a single vanishing point. When this event arrives, there is no mistaking it. It comes with the guarantee that you will transcend. There are no failures in this sense. You can only move through the tunnel of agony until it turns into ecstasy. Bro, that's where my fucking at right now. That's where it is. Liberation is one of the strangest of phenomenon. This is the city. It is perceived by the unliberated as an experience, even though it is not an experience since there is no one to experience it. Even though liberation, that's because there's no individual itself. There's the absorption back into the Godhead, the omniscience. Even though liberation is often described as an event, it is not. Even though it appears to happen within time, it does not. It occurs outside of time. There is no sounds that can be vibrated that resonate with this phenomenon. There are no words to describe liberation because there is no process to describe. It is perhaps best understood as analogous to dying. Liberation is beautifully represented through the metaphor of the warrior's death. The warrior's life is one of preparation, adversity, energy, and finally death. The perfect death for the warrior is to die in battle. And in ancient society, it was a great honor for the warrior to die in battle. The 38th city is programming partner to the 39th. Honor, the city of honor. All of this is a metaphor of something that exists at a much higher level than we generally realize. Of course, the warrior is you, the independent human being. Your battlefield is the world and the war is life. The true warrior is the one who is willing to die for the highest cause. I think of Hercules, you know, whenever he became a god again, he started glowing again, right? His aura, his energy, his vitality. I don't know. That just came to my mind to say. Whether this is represented by our country or cause, your brothers and sisters or your children. The important part of the metaphor is that the warrior has to give up his or her own life for another, just as Christ died for humanity upon the cross. As in all the great legends and stories, there is always a rebirth that takes place after the warrior has given his life for a higher cause. The rebirth is liberation. and it occurs only after great effort and many trials. And this is the way of the 39th gene key. The reward is annihilation of fear through the death of the smaller self. And this is like essentially the process that you go through for the 6th initiation and the 7th, which becomes like the full ordination, becoming fully fucking Christed. In the 7th, 8th, and 9th are simultaneous. So once the 6th suits, the 7th, 8th, and 9th unfold. This is the true meaning and symbol of the warrior and what we aspire to. So liberation may sound familiar to freedom, but there is a subtle difference between this. Freedom represents the 55th gene key. There is, in fact, a deep connection between the 55th and the 39th. Liberation is a provocative energy. It tests and challenges those who are drawn to it. The person manifesting the city of liberation is profoundly dangerous to be around, not in the sense of physical danger, but in the sense of shadow patterns. This is not a person that treads lightly around you. This is a force that bores light and bores right into the heart of your low frequency patterns and strips you down to the bones of your true being. These are teachers who direct the force of their love right at the weakest chink in your armor. Just as a lower frequency of this gene key pushes your buttons out of reaction, the sage displaying the 39th city will use any technique to their disposal to test the limits of your surrender. If you take anything personally, then you still have limits to your surrender. The 39th gene key is related to the 55th in the same way in which a spring mechanism releases an explosive energy. When all human seeking has exhausted itself, a great need to act arises. And this pressure is currently building in the human DNA itself. Life itself is struggling to transcend its struggle through human beings. The 39th shadow builds the tension for change until it is released through the human genome in the city of liberation. Even before the mutation of the 55th gene key, we will hear the dynamic explosion of this energy will provoke the mutation itself. Thus, we will see how the energy of liberation ultimately provokes the realization of freedom. So boom, and that's what it is. The black hole to the white hole. This is the explosion into stillness, into presence, the eternal present moment. And we are transcending and moving out of the mental plane, the third dimensional reality, into the causal plane, into the heart, and going to be embodying the fifth dimensional experience as we blossom and bloom the acidic frequencies in our DNA. And that blooming is happening now. It is happening. And there is going to be an external manifestation, a dynamic explosion, the fluorescence. And I do believe it's whenever the sun gets into Gene Key 15. It could be sooner, but I do believe it's going to come in July. I've been getting July, Christmas in July, Christmas in July, rainbow body in July. So again, there's not a lot of doing that you need to do. There's just being. There's not seeking unless you need to exhaust out your seeking. Acceptance, all these things. Like acceptance is key. Being is the best place to be in acceptance. You know, you can look at your stuff. You can do whatever you want to do. I mean, fucking live your life. Do whatever you want to do, but you don't have to force it. It's a flow. If you're already in alignment, then you're already in alignment. You know. Even if you doubt yourself, don't. You know, because if you weren't in alignment, you wouldn't be in alignment. You wouldn't know. Okay. But I mean, how is it going to unfold? I don't fucking know. I don't know. I can sit here and have all my ideas, but I like surprises. Not really, but I do. I'm a Gemini rising. Of course, I like to know. But that's that. That's the transmission for today. That's what we're putting out. Even if it doesn't happen in the next year, if it doesn't happen in July, fuck it, it's gonna happen one day. We're putting it out there. We're synthesizing and anchoring and allowing, and you know, obviously you have your addictions you got to work through. I think the addiction is our addiction to the human evolution, the human story, and materialism.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is. and my healing. I'm addicted to my healing because I'm never good enough. I'm enough. I've healed enough. I'm a good person. Unless you provoke me, and then I'm a bitch.
Have Courtney show the card she pulled.
What'd you pull? You guys stayed for a long one. Oh, it's 3:30. We did 2 hours.
In the meantime, I'll say how grateful I am for you. And yeah, it's crazy how everything aligns so much with how things are actually going in life. It never ceases to blow my mind. And yeah, thank you for these transmissions. I had to dip out for a while and like come back to earth. You know how it is sometimes you go too far out there, you're like, okay, where am I? But I felt like I needed to hear this one today, so I'm happy I did. But anyway.
Thank you for joining us today. Yeah, no, I totally get it. Like if this wasn't, I work for God, so I have to sit down every Wednesday and do this.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. But don't go get my shit twisted. I took 1 week. I took 1 week off out of the last like 4 years. I didn't know what to do. I felt so bad. I felt guilty. And then I didn't. And then I didn't. And then I was like, no, I have so much jet lag. I can't pick up. Okay, hold on. Let me pin you.
Birthing a New Age. It came out right as you were talking about like Shambhala, and like we are creating this. We are energetically doing a lot of work, you guys, working for God and showing up, and I'm proud of us. And thank you, Carrie Ann, for hosting.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. I love that came through. I don't mean that I'm the only one that works for God. I know that we all work for God here. I say here. I don't say everybody. Although everybody does. Devil and God, both. You know, like everything is perfect. What I mean is like I'm not when I said that by working for God, it's like I'm not enticed by the money here. Like I don't make enough money to survive if I didn't have my veterans disability paycheck. So yeah, I don't make enough money in this business to survive at all. Right. And so I don't do this for the money and for the greed and for like the fame and the fortune and stuff like that was what I meant. I work for God. I'm doing God's work. But I am super grateful for all of the support and all of like, we're all fucking doing this. Like we're all a fractal of each other doing this, holding these frequencies at different times, you know, we're a part of a greater fractal than, you know, my simple human mind can't even necessarily fathom it, you know? And if it wasn't for these amazing reflections out there of God out there creating this artistry and, you know, showing these orbs of light and showing like angelic presence and their art displays, and then, you know, I don't think I would have that necessarily have that context for it, because that's, you know, I'm a channel, I'm a Gemini rising, I'm a messenger. So I mean I get visions too, but like I'm not a painter. You know, I've painted. I'm pretty sure I can learn to paint if I want to, but my messaging is in my art form is through channeling, you know, this stream of consciousness. And synthesizing the streams of consciousness that you guys are all holding and bringing this all into the collective. This is what we're here to do. You know, anyways, I am super freaking ready. I'm so ready for this. I can feel it. You know, but I have been feeling it for many years and talking about it for many years. But this really feels like there is going to be at least on an individual level, maybe not the big collective shaboom, but like on an individual fractal level, I feel like there's a lot of people that are is it thundering? Sounds like it's thundering outside and my light's flickering a lot. But it feels like there's going to be a major individual reality shift. Okay, on the real note and how that could really play out. Like what I'm getting a lot of is you're going to be seen and you're going to be known. You're going to be guiding people and you're going to be really fucking wealthy and get ready for all the money, like beyond what you could ever imagine is coming in. It's coming in. I'm like, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off. It's like a relationship is coming. Fuck that. Don't want it. Like, and I'm like, reject, 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 reject. And I'm like, why am I doing this? It's like, that's my ego. I still got shit to work through, and I don't want to reject all my blessings, but what I am getting is a lot of blessings, and it's like complete reality change, complete fucking reality change coming through for a lot of people. And it's not just me, it's those that have been doing the inner spiritual work, not out there making all that money hustle. Like your 3D money doesn't matter. It's about doing the internal work and the understanding of the bigger self, the small self. Yes, it's good to know your small self. Like I just did with my small self. Like, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want a relationship. Fuck that shit. Fuck that. Like that's my small self. It's good to know your small self so you can stop your small self from being a small dumbass. And so you can just be your big self. Okay. And your larger self, the God presence. And again, allowing that presence to flow through that flooding through. So I believe that a lot of people are about to move into that their own individualized fifth dimensional frequency. If not, because that's the thing is like we got to do it individually, and then it happens as a big shaboom for the collective, or maybe it's a big shaboom all at once. I don't fucking know. God loves surprises. Man makes plans. God laughs. I'm still down for laughing. I'm down for laughing. There's got to be something happening, honey. Because, like, you just look at the world around. Just look at the fucking world around. It's something big coming. It's something big coming. People could be like, oh, that's not my reality. I don't see it. Well, blinders on for you, boo. But everybody else, we're not be attaching to it. We're not afraid to see it. Don't show me. I'm afraid. I don't want to create that in my reality. It's like, see it all. You don't mean how to eat it all. Just see it all. You know what I'm saying? It's like a buffet, bitch. You're not gonna go get something from everything at the buffet. Not everybody likes everything at the buffet, but it's there. I don't know where these analogies come from, but anyways, analogies, metaphors, whatever the fuck it is, I can never remember which difference. That's how intelligent I am. All right, crazy. The pearl, the service. I really feel that we're all one body. And so it's a buffet, bitch. Yes. I believe that we're all one body and with many cells. And there's this big part of me is like it happens individually and then it happens collectively. But on that individual level first, it happens to us. And then we go out being of service, which is the collective pearl coming and unfurling and happening in the reality. And we go help people and then they get on board and they're, like, oh, or they're in resistance, whatever it is, jump, sink or swim, baby, sink or swim. Okay. And whatever they want to do. And those that choose to swim, they'll be elevated when it comes time for the sha la 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 la, show me light, let the divine, whatever, go and bless the world. Yeah. Whatever. That was me. Yeah. Anyway, so I believe that. But then it could also just be all at once thing, I believe bit by bit, but we'll see. All right, guys, I will see you here next Wednesday. And I love you all so very much. And thank you for being here. Thank you for anchoring these codes. Please take a look at your personal individualized chart for more insight and just play. And there's nothing wrong with sitting in contemplation. Who sprayed so much cologne? Oh my God, all I smell is like a little man child running around. All right. They're teenagers going to 6th grade, Anyways. All right, I got a teenager that's ready. She's annoyed. Are you annoyed with them? Okay. All right, I gotta go. Love you guys. I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye.